Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Adobe Live, and I am your host, Chris Blackstock, and we are here with the wonderful brand designer and also Adobe Live host, Andrew Hochradel. Hey, Andrew.
It's me. Hello. I loved the little Truman Show intro, right? That's the thing from the Truman Show. He's like, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. And if I don't see you, he says something. Anyway, movie quotes.
I'll take it. Yeah. I don't know where I got it from. I figured that's probably the best way, right? People are watching from all over the world. So
yes, at any time in the future. Hello, future people. Hopefully,
future people. Yes.
Yeah. Hopefully you're doing great in the future.
This will be archived. So yeah, this is like a kind of a fun impromptu show. And, I just want to say hi to the chat. Hello, everybody in the chat. Looks like we got Wade helping us out today. Hey, Wade, always nice to have you here. Oh man, we even got Paco in the chat. Hey, Paco. Steve Festus, always nice to have you. General Kenobi, hello, and everybody else. And also, if you guys are watching on YouTube, hi, everybody. Glad to have you here. And also, if you guys want to watch it on Behance, it's behance.net/Adobe Live. So yeah, Andrew, hi.
Hello.
Yeah, obviously you know what's going on. Introduce yourself. Let us know what's going on today. Show us some work if you need to. But yeah.
I'll pull up. How about I pull up a website so we can actually look at something? So hello, if you've never met me before, I'm Andrew Hochradel. Hi. I am what I like to call a creative for hire because I do a little bit of everything. And so if you want to check me out, I am just at hawk.co on all social medias right here. That's my tag. Whoa, that's really big. That's my tag on all social medias if you want to follow along. But here's a little taste of some of my work. I like doing weird experimental stuff, more editorial, love type-based projects. And I love vintage stuff. I grew up watching black and white TV. I missed out on Power Rangers and all those shows. And I was watching Andy Griffith and Leave It to Beaver. And so today we are going to be working in this style, making some vintage title cards, similar to this one right here.
Awesome.
Right. And we're going to be in Illustrator and Photoshop. We'll be animating in Photoshop, and we'll be doing some 3D type in Illustrator. So we'll be all over the place.
Awesome. Hey guys, I forgot to add also, you guys can start your day off with curated selection of past Photoshop daily creative challenges every day this week, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tune in, challenge yourself with a new prompt each day.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you, it's a good curated playlist because I've curated it specifically for you. So I built the playlist and it's a good one. So
we're here with the source,
right? We're here. All right. So let's kind of hop in and look at some inspiration. So this is what we're going to be building today. And I think that people in chat were talking about the new Adobe Live intro that just happened.
Yes.
We're going to do a vintage version of an Adobe Live intro. So it's Inception today. It's double intro day.
Today's a little crazy.
It is. It's wild. And I think that we're going to try to work in this style here. So again, I love vintage stuff. And it's really nice working in this style because I always tell people when I work in this style, it's great because you can hide your mistakes by making things worse. So it doesn't have to be crisp and clean and perfect because there's texture and noise. And even in stuff like this, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's blurred out and there's a lot that's kind of just it feels vintage. You can hide a ton of mistakes and get really lazy with your design, but still get a really cool effect, which is the way that I love to design. Okay. Chris, have you used any of the 3D stuff in Illustrator with updates?
No, I haven't. So I'm excited to learn.
It's mind blowing. So we're going to try to just I'm going to try to just replicate real quick and build out kind of a lockup of where we want our type to be and how we want it to look. And so I'm going to just work over here on a 1920 by 1080. And I'm like a hotkey guy and my brain just does it. So chat, if you ever see anything that you're what happened there? It just ask me and I'll tell you what my fingers are doing. So what I like to do is kind of just map out using blocks, the hierarchy of what things are going to look like or kind of how I think things will look.
Smart. Quick way to kind of get your composition together and your design.
Yeah. And it just saves time in laying out type. Right. Because it allows you to just let's just plug stuff in.
Right. Quickly, Wade is chiming in with his pun of the day, the introception. Thank you, Wade.
Thank
Once
you, Wade.
again, trying to overshadow my talents on this show. He's always going to be one step ahead of me.
Oh yeah, our moderators are like full on like all-stars when it comes to that stuff.
Yes. Dad jokes, puns, all kinds of things.
All right. I think that I definitely want to do like some kind of Adobe Live logo down here.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's balance. I want to have space for like light as well. And so I'm going to use just like a circle. And this is going to give me reference for like what the light direction is that I want to play with.
Okay, smart.
And check this out. Okay, this is not something that a lot of people know, or I feel like people don't use it. So if you have a shape, a lot of times you can drag out the rulers and like get your guides, right? And it gives you like these little green lines. Yep. But if you use a shape and you go to view and then guides and then make guides, you can make guides on like organic shapes.
What?
Right? And so when I'm sketching and mapping stuff out, I always just use guides to show like lighting or effects or composition. Like if I want to do, I know that I'm going to have a vignette on this.
Mm-hmm.
I can just make a shape here. Oops. What hotkey am I using? My goodness. There it is. To kind of put how big I want that vignette to be. And then we'll just subtract these out using that shape builder tool. And then again, just select all these corners, and this will give me a reference for what that is going to be on our little vignette. Cool. And that way we don't have type like going into shadows.
Yeah, you're almost creating, it's almost like the skeleton view when you're mapping things out.
Yep.
Even with 3D and stuff, some other reference. But yeah, it's very cool. Easy to see and doesn't cloud your vision of anything else here.
Yep. And I'm like lacking for content. I think that part of me in chat, I might need your help today, kind of figuring out some content to fill these spaces. Part of me really wants to have this like 3 little thing lock up. And then maybe we have a 2 here that's really small with like some kind of fun little accent in the middle here.
Okay, little doodad.
We'll do that. And then do we do like tiny little things here? I'm not fully confident in these, but we'll see. Okay, so this feels like a title card to me. The bottom already feels a little bit heavy, but we'll map it out and see what happens. And so these little boxes up here, I always use little boxes if I know that I want the type to be like kerned way out. And I see this a lot. There we go. There's the presents. So I do this a lot of the contrast between like a tight and tall and then like a wide and stretched. And so I think that like, as I'm doing composition, I need to remember, oh, this is not a line of type. These are like stretchy letters that are going to fit in there.
Right.
Okay.
And compositionally, yeah, seeing that, it makes more sense visually for you.
Yep. So chat, I'm going to put some little things in here that are just notes to myself. And I need you to like do these for me. So we need help with content. And what I'm going to do is kind of put what I think is going to be here. So this will be like an overarching company. So this may be Adobe. And then this down here is just going to say Adobe and Live. You can hit escape, right? Yeah. I always go click on the move tool every time I'm working with type to get out of it and just forget that you can hit escape.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
All right, chat. Here's where I need your help. I don't know what I want in these boxes down here. So pretty much all of these, I don't know. I think we'll have one that's like the copyright information and maybe like an website or something. That could be fun if we did like one said the like copyright year. I think is that how you spell copyright?
Yeah, no.
Is it RIGHT?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so yeah.
Behance link.
Yeah, because it's like a right. Yeah.
Okay, and then maybe this is the Behance logo. That would be kind of fun to have that as like, we're going to make a custom one. A vintage custom one. All right. And then down here is going to be Adobe Live. And then chat. I don't know what I want in these either. So some little something that maybe this is like a fun slogan that has like a quote and it's like fun slogan, slow go. And then this one can say creativity for all.
Perfect.
Or maybe it's a 2-part slogan. All right, so chat, that's you need to fill in these question marks for me as I work. And Chris, if you have any questions or any ideas here, just drop them in. So I'm going to start working on this Adobe Live piece right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just move all this to the side. Whoop. So I have an idea. And then I'm going to turn off my guys hitting Control and this one. Semicolon? Semicolon.
Yeah, there you go.
This guy. I like that, like, it's the period with the little hook. Is
yeah.
One of these.
Hand.
Yeah.
It's the witch hand.
Yeah. All right. So let's hop in and let's try to create this kind of type effect. And I think it's going to be super easy using 3D. I am going to need to make it individual letters, it looks like, because of the way that they're like layering. If I did it in 3D, I think that it would be like too hard to rotate each. It would just get complicated. So I'm going to do them separately. But the great thing is I can actually do one of them and then make a graphic style and just apply it to everything.
Very cool.
So we're going to do A, and I want you to find something that is condensed, bold, and tall. And thankfully, Adobe Fonts has that. So we can use these filters. I mean, this is like not the right inspiration, but it's kind of good.
It looks cool, but yeah, it's not as vintage.
I need something that probably works. Yeah, let's do it. All right. All right, so let's just do one here, and I'm going to bring this right next to it so I can really see where we're going. Window, 3D materials. This is where we're going to be for the day. Did it open that panel somewhere else? There it is. Okay, so let's investigate here and think about how this letter is working. So it looks like it is extruded, right? There's some dimension to it. And it looks like the 3D is going like to the bottom left. So it looks like it's at that 45-degree angle. And it looks like it's doing that on all of them. And then they're just rotated. All right, let's give it a shot. Coming over here, we're going to select our letter, and then we are going to hit extrude, and that's going to give us a little bit of that depth. And it looks like we're already going the wrong direction. So I'm going to make this red just because. And we've already failed 3 seconds in. Okay, so let's do off-axis front, back, left, top, right. Isometric left? No, that's not what we want. Okay, we might have to do this custom. I'm going to see if we can get close by just rotate freeform. Oh, you know what? I'm trying to think, because the front of the letter is flat.
Yeah, it's not rotating in or right. It's rotating sides. It's not tilting in any direction.
Yeah, so it might not 3D. I think we want perspective here so that it has some like depth to it, but it does look like, it looks like we might not 3D this.
Because it's kind of like a tweak. It's almost like it's skewing out to the side.
Yeah, it's almost long shot. Okay, cool. So let's not 3D this. And what we're going to do is I'm going to record an action because I don't want to do this multiple times. So if you're doing something once in Illustrator or Photoshop that you know you're going to do a bunch of times, just record an action. So I'm going to take this and we are going to outline it. We're going to make a copy, always make a copy, and then we're going to outline it real quick. All right, and from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a blend. So I'm going to copy and then paste in place using Control-Shift-V, I think. And then we'll pull this down at a 45-degree angle, and then just object, blend options, 200. This is like not the right way to do this, but this is the way that I've always done it. And so this is just how it works.
Sometimes that's the best way to do it. Okay. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So now we have that nice little 3D. I may end up actually doing that in Photoshop, but let's have it here just in case. So we know that we're coming off this way, and then we have a shadow that kind of comes off the other side right there. What I'm going to do, I think, is just type this out and then grab each of the letters and just bring them into Photoshop as outline so that I have them as like vector shapes.
Okay.
Ooh, those are good letters. All right, and we are here. We're in Photoshop. Wow, we did it. I'm going to bring these letters in and then pretty much immediately hide them because we're going to build the background first. So I'm going to smart object these just because I know that I might be using them for other stuff. Sorry, this screen is going to get very flashy for a second because I'm going to be going back and forth between light mode and dark mode in these different programs.
To put a warning on before we start the show. Right.
I always get so much flack because my Illustrator is in light mode and then my Photoshop is in dark mode for like the background, because I like to work everywhere in Illustrator, but then in Photoshop, I want it to like focus on the artboard and the canvas. Right. Yeah. And so, gosh, weird. This is so chaotic. Yeah. You know what this feels like right now? This feels like the perfect, like on brand for what branding is right now. Like this is a website landing page. Yeah.
You put it together.
Yeah, exactly. It's like accidental branding. Yeah. All right.
As you scroll, the letters start to form.
Yep. And they like wiggle and change colors and yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and build a background here. This is going to be fun, and we're going to create something that has more of this kind of black and white feel. Where did I put that? Right, this like textured background, black and white. The light you can see is coming here on the bottom, toward the bottom right. So let's build that from scratch. Why not? What I like to do is we're just going to make a new layer here and fill it with like a gray, just a mid-level gray. Boom. Then we're going to go to filter. We're going to go to render, and we're going to use difference clouds. Oh, my colors are wrong. So with difference clouds, if you want to just kind of add some texture, you want it to be black and white. So it's going to grab the foreground and background color. And let's go under difference clouds. Boom.
Oh, cool.
What do I do from here? Let's go ahead and do some noise on here. Yeah. Look at that. Right? It's so this is really good for making gold and silver foil textures, because you literally just put gold on this and it's like, it's gold texture. And then we always want to blur it out. So you're going to see me using Gaussian blur like a million times because nothing back then was ever like perfectly crisp. And so everything's going to be like 0.4 or 0.8 so that we get this nice soft texture.
Right. Almost kind of like that film grain.
Yep, exactly. So from there, I'm going to add, I really like this texture in the background. So I'm going to add almost some like banding lines that you would see on a TV. And so I jump back and forth between Illustrator and Photoshop because I like work better with certain things in certain programs. And so I always make these lines, which I could do in Photoshop, but I'm like, why?
Yeah. Explain really quick how you get that repeated.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So that is a cool technique.
Yep. We used one of these. So we made a shape, and then you hold down Shift and Alt or Option. You can see it have like that double arrow, and it's going to make a copy of it. And then Illustrator basically remembers what you just did. And if you go up here to Object, Transform, and Transform again, it'll do that same thing. So it's like, hey, take this shape and then move it and copy it down. And you can do that with anything else. So I could grab a different shape and it's going to do the same thing. So it moves it by the coordinates and then makes a copy of it.
Yeah, no, it's a cool trick and it makes life so much easier.
Yep. So I'm going to drop these on here, and we don't need this as a smart object, so I'm just going to rasterize it right away. I just needed this texture. And we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to blur this out, and I'm going to blur these a lot. There we go. Because I want that almost like felt board. If you're thinking about like old vintage title cards, there's something called mitten letters, MITTEN. And there were these little like plastic letters, and they would use them and set them up to shoot like actual title cards. And like the lighting would have that long kind of shadow, and they'd be these little extended letters that they put on like a felt board like this.
Very cool. I didn't know that.
All right, so put those in there, and we probably want to add some noise to those. And another way to get noise is to change it to dissolve. And so that'll give us some nice kind of noise there. It's a little too sharp, but we'll figure that out on the back end. Let's not dissolve it. Let's just add some noise. Oh, all right. We'll come back to that. Again, I'm not focusing on like making it good. I'm focusing on getting all the stuff in right now, and then we actually make it worse and it will look better. I know that doesn't make any sense, but that's kind of the process with vintage stuff, is like throw it all in there and then you just toss effects on top and eventually it lands.
Right.
Okay, so from here, I'm going to start making some folders just so I know where things are. So I'm going to create a new layer, and this is going to be a lighting layer. And we're going to start out by just making a nice little vignette. And I'll go ahead and I'm hitting X and D to reset my colors there. And I'm just going to take a super soft brush and make it huge and then paint around the edges here.
Okay.
And I could do an actual vignette, but I like doing this because it makes it uneven. I like having a little bit of like, it feels like the exposure is off and changing. And so I'm going to set this to dissolve as well. And that will get me a little more of that kind of grainy texture around those edges.
Well, and like you said, this is all vintage. Everything was done by hand, even though things were measured out and still, obviously amazing craftsmanship, but it's digital. It's like, it's hard to not make it look perfect. Right.
Yep.
I mean, that's the tough part. So,
and again, this is already too crispy with this dissolve. And so what I like to do is you create a layer underneath that's just a blank layer, and then Control E to merge it down into that layer. And it changes the blend mode. So now it's just rasterized as this, and it's not like a blend mode. And now I can go in and filter and blur it.
Gotcha.
And again, I put like that 0.8 on there, and you can see that we get that nice, subtle, grainy texture. Yeah. All right, we're looking good. Now, this is where it gets really fun, is I'm going to make a group here, and this is just going to be my lighting group. And from here, I'm going to drag out the direction of my lighting, which is going to be top right, kind of coming down. Actually, let's do top left coming down. So I'm going to grab the lasso tool here and feather it to like 200. So super soft feather. And then we're just going to kind of paint in where we want that light coming in. So I want it wide and then coming in a little bit lighter here. And then back to being wide. I didn't hit the edge right. All right, so let's go here. Then we want it super wide, coming in a little bit lighter, and then this way. All right, so that's about where I want it. And then we're going to start using adjustment layers. So adjustment layers, we're going to be in for like the majority of today. And I'm just going to pull this up, and you can see that it starts to give me that nice kind of lighting glow. And I actually think that this might be too wide. So we're going to redraw this real quick and see if that gives me, I want really directional and really like, there we go. So now we have that light really blowing through there, kind of coming down, and we can maybe darken these in a second. And the easiest way to do that is to right click to make the selection. And then we can just make the opposite. Yeah. All right, we're going somewhere.
All right.
Let's do the letters next.
Okay.
Gosh, let's be organized. Chris, do you keep your files like organized, or do you just work in total chaos?
No, I've become much more organized these past few years. I used to be much more chaos, but the way I paint and render now, it's like I've got so many clipping masks and every body part is got its own layer. And so,
Right.
yeah, I've gotten really good at organizing all of my stuff.
All right, I'm going to turn off. I'm going to turn off that letter there, or sorry, the layer. I'm using the auto select just to kind of keep things easy. And so if I have other layers, it makes it way harder. I should actually lay this out and then go back. Let's do that. I was going to do like one letter, but I should probably make it the way that it's going to be.
Do the whole, yeah.
Let's get the spacing. Oh, calm down. Also, chat, I have a very special request for you. One, let me know where you're watching from. And two, in about 4 minutes, unless you're watching the replay, at 10 o'clock, if someone wants to head over to just like the Funny Girl on Broadway Instagram account and let me know who they cast in the show, that'd be great. I'm live streaming and I'm like a huge Broadway nerd and there's big news coming out, but I can't see it. So if you just want to like drop a name in chat, just drop a name in chat at 10. Somebody hop over there for me. You got to do what you got to do. All right. So from here, I do want this to be white. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a adjustment layer or do some blending options on all of these letters because I want them to look the same. Okay. So let's go into blending options. And here's my secret. Actually, I'm going to zoom in so y'all can see this. Here's the ultimate secret about doing vintage. Nothing is ever black or white. It looks like we have a lot of blacks, but they're actually like light grays. Because no old TV could display like the pure white. It always was an off gray. So we're gonna go to blending options. And instead of making this white, we're gonna go to color overlay. And I'm gonna make this like a 12% gray. So just a little bit of gray. And that way, if it's full white, it won't pick up the texture. If it's a little bit gray, it'll capture all that texture.
Right. That looks good. Right? It's crazy. Just that little bit down, it really does make it look older.
So from here, we're also going to add, looking at our inspiration, we have some highlights coming in, as well as like a little glow. I'm going to make these more of like marquee letters than like directional. So we're going to have them glowing out. So we're going to do a inner glow, and that'll give us that edge just a little bit darker.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the noise up to give us some noise on those, and we will be blurring these. I'm going to turn the opacity up, and then the size needs to come down because that's way too much. So just a little bit of that glow. That looks good. And then what I can do, actually, I did this backwards. So I can do inner glow here, and I'm going to do this from the center. There we go, center. And I'm going to make this a brighter gray. So we can't see it right now. We're going to make this a little bit darker gray. And then this inner glow, when we take the opacity up, you can see now that it's glowing from the center. And that's what we want, is we want that nice edge. I'm actually going to turn the choke up so that you can see we have that edge coming through. There we go. Little kind of 3D letters. And I always turn the noise up to get some nice noise on there. Cool. So we've got some 3D letters going right there. And now what I want to do is I'm going to record an action on one of these letters to give us that dimensional letter look.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and grab one of these letters. They're not, the layers aren't even in order. I'm working in pure chaos today. All right. So here is the action that I like to do. We're going to go to actions and we're just going to record this real quick. My goodness, Andrew, why are your actions total insanity? Sure, we're putting this in this folder. I'm just going to hit plus, and that's going to start recording a new action. And from here, I'm going to kind of go down to the side. So I'm going to grab my lasso tool. And this is the wrong way to do it, but this is the way that I do it again, is there is a way to like make long shadows, but I like having control over it. So what I do is I right click to make a selection of this letter. And then from there, I'm going to just use the lasso tool here. And I'm going to go down one and left one. I mean, literally using the arrow keys to move a pixel and then just hit delete. Hit control delete. and Control Delete will fill it with the background color. That's not working. Oh, I need to be on a new layer. Sorry. All right, so let's be working on a new layer. There we go. Have it underneath our letter here. And then from there, we're just going to use that lasso tool and Control Delete, and it's going to fill with the foreground color, which is not what I want. This poor action. All right, so let's do this. Let's stop this reaction. Let's go ahead and come back to where let's go ahead and delete it. Okay, so we're gonna hit plus here.
Let's just start fresh. We got this.
All right, let's delete this. Why can't I delete a layer? My delete button's not working. Oh, because
Diane
I have a selection.
Van Etten is she's coming in from North Idaho.
North Idaho.
We got one. Yeah, North Idaho's here. And Steve says Streisand?
Streisand? Yes,
they haven't announced it, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we are going to, there we go. Start a new action. And we are going to what do I want to do? I have the wrong layer selected. All right, so let's stop this action. Let's delete it. So actions, it seems like it's a lot, but it's actually, if you get it right, it's worth the time to spend to like record it.
Emily has just chimed in. Leah Michelle,
they freaking did it. Oh my gosh. Oh, the drama is so good. Oh, I love it. All right, that's what I'm living for today. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Oh, that makes me so happy. All right.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you. All right, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and we're going to begin recording. Then I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to make a selection, actually. I'm going to do the selection on this layer, set the selection. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to move that layer 1 down so it's behind. Dang it. I'll just move it down twice. All right, this poor action's chaos. And then from there, I'm going to use that lasso tool, and I'm just going to start filling in this layer. Control Delete is going to make 1. Why is it making white? Oh, I'm doing this wrong. Okay, the reason it's going white is because it's still in the group.
I was going to say, yeah, the background's out of the group set.
Chaos.
It's okay. Yeah.
Let's do this. All right.
Plenty of time.
We're going to delete here. I'm just going to make a new one. This is going to be long shadow. All right. We are recording. I'm going to have the selection already when I do it. And now I'm just going to, on this new layer, go ahead and do the trick where I do the long shadow. And I'm literally just going down 1, left 1, and making that long shadow.
Perfect.
All right. So that worked. Now what I can do is I can do this. And I'm not going to name a lot of this because I'll be using auto select. But what I can do is literally just come in here and make these new layers and select it. Oh, frick, Andrew. All right, let's delete these. I still have the action running. All right, I think this is gonna work. Okay. Everybody hold your breath.
We got this.
There
we go.
Oh, whoop. Are we back? I don't know what happened there. So sorry. Zoom crashed and restarted for me.
Oh, all right.
So sorry. It probably broke everything. Here we go. Let me share my screen again. Welcome to chaos. All right. All right. We're back.
It's a Manic Monday.
It's a Manic Monday.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to select here. Just keep selecting these letters. Here's the O. And I can, again, just run this long shadow, and it's going to make all that for me. Boom.
All right. See, now it's all worth it.
There we go.
Worth it now.
Chris, I have a question for you. Do you know if there's a hotkey to make a layer behind the layer that's selected?
That's a great question. I do not know that answer.
All right, chat. Yeah, chat, come through.
Somebody? Yes.
So I need right here, I'm on a layer, and I need it to go like below. But when I create a new layer, it goes above.
It goes up above, right? That's a great question.
All right, let's get the E, which is not brought in here. Andrew, you should have labeled these. There we go. And we're going to run that. Boom. All right, so we're actually going to do the same thing in the opposite direction to create kind of a directional shadow.
Mm-hmm.
But let's keep this going. Boom. See, it's saving us a ton of time once we actually got it locked in.
See, RB is saying that use control plus new layer to get the layer behind the active layer.
Oh, that's a new document. Control Shift N is for new layer, but I want it to go below, not above. Maybe it's Control Shift something.
Wade is saying Command Control.
Command Control.
Yeah.
Wait, those are. Oh, maybe both. Okay, so maybe he's saying both, and then it will do. All right, so let's try it. Command Control Shift N. I think that worked.
Let's see. Do it again. Yeah. Right.
We did it. Yeah, I think we did it.
Okay.
All right. So we're here. We already have our vintage type. It is looking good. We're going somewhere. We're doing it, Peter. All right. So what we're going to do now is we are going to create our long shadow. So let's go ahead and we're going to take all of this, and this is just going to be our type. And what we can do is we are going to actually just like merge this down. So I'm going to make another layer, and this is going to be our type source.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are just going to Control E, and it will like rasterize this. So again, this is not the right way to do it, but when you're doing this kind of vintage, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You can cheat a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the selection of all of this and then kind of mask out these letters by using the rectangular marquee tool to subtract a lot of these pieces. So now I can grab just that A. And from there, we are going to, again, make a new layer. And we are going to record one more action, and that's going to be going the opposite direction. So I'm going to use that lasso tool, Control Delete. Andrew, you're adding it to the actual action that you just had. Oh my goodness.
Get it together.
All right, new action. Oh, I messed up my selections too. Andrew, we still have to get to animating. All right.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. I have no qualms. All right. Let's just use the selection tool here and just grab this nice little edge. Grab it.
There we go.
Do it. There you go, buddy. Come on. You can do it. Sure. Close enough. Whatever.
Yeah, that works.
Oh, that's going to kill me. All right. I love that you can just work with pixels because pixel perfect right there.
Mm-hmm.
Boop. 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 All right. Pixel perfect selection. Now let's make that new layer. And now we record. Now we do new action. And this is right shadow.
All right.
Oh, why aren't you filling? Oh, because I set the opacity to 0. Andrew.
All right. Andrew, yes. Okay. Everybody, if you are just joining us, it is Monday. It is Manic Monday. We are here with Andrew Hochradel, brand designer, also a host with us here at Adobe Live. And he's animating, or we will be animating, a vintage title intro, which is going to be pretty awesome. What's kind of based off of the Silly Symphony Disney titles. So excited to get there. We're slowly building this thing, but it's because we're doing the awesome action process. So sometimes it can be a little bit tricky, but totally worth it in the end. Also, if you are joining us on YouTube, welcome, hello. And also if you're here on Behance, hello. We've got the chat going here. If you want to come chat with us, behance.net/Adobe Live. So if you have any questions for Andrew, very knowledgeable. He's awesome. And I think we're doing everything now in Photoshop. Are we going to go back to Illustrator at all, or is it going to be mostly Photoshop here on out?
Yeah, I don't think we need Illustrator anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So I just did that shadow in the opposite direction. And I'm going to take this down to just like 50%. And we can see that we get that nice shadow. And then what I like to do is just go to filter, blur, and directional blur. Motion blur. That's what it is. Put that at a 45-degree angle. And then you can see that we're starting to get a little bit of that shadow going. Put this up at like 100. There we go. So we've got that nice little shadow going, but this is too dark. And again, we never use full lights and darks here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this layer. I'm going to right click on black and do select similar. It's going to grab all those black pieces. And then I'm just going to paste over them in like a light gray. So what I like to do here is fill it with a light gray and then come in and add some like speckle tones on it. Boop. I want to fill all this. There's a way to fill all of them at the same time. Doesn't matter. We're just you can use a brush. There we go. So already we're getting a little bit more of that contrast. And with that selection one more time, I'm just going to brush in on a new layer, some noise. A little bit lighter. So it gives us just a little bit of definition from that back shadow. Looks pretty good to me. All right. So we're there, looking good, got some shadows going. Let's go ahead and just do a shadow on all of this because we can do that long shadow on the entire thing, I think. Here, set our shadow there, and then just do some of this. And we're still recording the action from everything that we've done because I forgot to turn it off.
I was just gonna ask about it. I was like, do you still want to record this?
All right. Goodbye, action. You're done. All right. So we're gonna do that blur again, say motion blur. And there we go. We've got some good motion. I actually think that went the opposite way. Motion blur. It is. That's what we want. Yeah, long shadows.
Nice.
All right, so we're looking good here. That's going to be fine for where we're going right now. We are going to apply some quick effects to this to make it look much more vintage. And the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to blur it. Why not? Let's go ahead and blur it. And I always just make copies of layers and keep them in here because just in case. So we're going to go to filter. We're going to blur it, Gaussian blur, and we're going to do this by probably maybe 5. I do want a little more contrast on this edge here. I'm gonna do one more selection. All right, let's do this. Let's just do an adjustment layer here. And we can do threshold, and then we can change that for levels.
I love adjustment layers.
Those up a little bit, and then those down a little bit, and boom, we got our layers. All right, so that looks good to me. I'm just going to apply that. And now let's go ahead and do some filter. Let's put some noise on it. That's way too much noise. All right, 10 looks good. And then we will blur. There we go. So now when we zoom out here, you can see we've got that nice vintage, everything feels soft and kind of blurry, nice little glows. And then I'm gonna do one more thing on top of this. And I am going to add in just a very soft dissolve brush. That's way too big. But we're going to try to make these glow. We're going to dissolve here and then kind of just randomly go into these letters so they have a little bit of that like light spatter on them. Merge it down and then set it to like soft light, hard light. So you can see there, even on soft light, let's do overlay. Looks good to me. is it gives it just that extra little glow. So it feels like those really are like blown out on that old vintage TV.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's put in the rest of our type. And this is going to go very quickly, I think, which it needs to because we need to animate. So I am going to go back to Illustrator to lay out the rest of this type. We are going to grab... Yep, let's do presents. So let's definitely do presents in here because I know that I want that. I don't know what the top is going to be. We're gonna do presents. I'm gonna use one of my fonts. No, I'm not because it's not on here. Is it? It has to be. Yeah. So this is one of my fonts. It's called Quokka. And I built it specifically for this use to be the word presents that like goes on title cards.
That's pretty awesome.
I had looked at like vintage like Christmas specials and stuff, and it always had these like nice little rounded letters. And so I made the font specifically for a project and I was like, oh, let's go ahead and build this into an actual font.
Why not?
All right, so we're gonna get real sloppy in our layers here, but I'm just going to drop this in. Yep, presents looks good to me. And what's great is because I already used the same kind of effects, I can come into my type source and I can just grab these. So we're gonna copy that layer style and then just right click and paste it onto our letters here. And we do need to go in and adjust the values.
Right.
But it will be pretty close. There we go. It's what we want. There we go. Looks pretty good. So looks good. And now check it out. We can do our actions and very easily and quickly have this. Andrew, calm down. All right. The right shadow is going to go away, but the long shadow should still work if I hit our selection, hit play here. Boom, long shadow. So we got that nice long shadow. And then again, we can do the same thing by just merging these down, making a selection. Just going to fill that whole thing with black and then use that directional blur. Motion blur. This should be black. Oh, you know what? Let's just invert it. That's how colors work. All right, looks pretty good to me. And we are going to do the same thing. Just merge this down, add some noise, and then blur it. Filter, blur. Sure. All right, looks good to me. And the cool thing is this lighting layer that I have here, I'm going to put it above everything and just change this and say glow. And that way I can come in here and just paint on the other letters.
Look at
that. Am I painting on the right layer? Oh, it's because I merged it down. I need to blur it. I did too many things. All right, so it is dissolved. We'll make a new one to merge it down. Why not? That's too big. Also, I might get more quiet because I'm
concentrating.
Yeah, I'm in the zone.
Wade says that that noise and blur technique would be a nice action to add.
Yes. I need to make actions for all of these things that I do. It's all just the same thing over and over. There we go.
Look at that.
Yep, and we have a layer. There we go. There we go. All right, so it's looking good and glowing. Let's go ahead and add down some little kind of copyright stuff here. And I'm going to use this same font. And we're going to do copyright. Yes. Oh boy. Everybody, we need some help. Roman numerals. What year is it? XXII 2022. I think that's right.
XXII. Yep, you got it.
Yes. So we're going to copy this in here and just paste it down. And I may get lazy and lay out all of my type and then come back with the other things. Oh, actually, I want that all to be one. Oh, which is cool. If I make a mistake, I can just come in here because it's a smart object and I wanted that to be one over here. And on the other side, have it say Adobe Systems, maybe. And when I save that as a smart object, boom, in Photoshop it updates. So that's why I use Illustrator to lay out most of my type.
That's very cool. I didn't realize that.
Right? And it keeps it all vector. And I just like working with type better in Illustrator. So we still have our layer style copied. And let's actually copy it from here. You know what? I don't care anymore. Again, it can be bad because we're just going to make it worse. So we're going to drop that in there. That looks good. And then let's grab a little tagline here. And I want to do creativity for all because that's like an Adobe thing. And I'm going to put it in like a fun little scripty. And we always put quotes around it. For some reason, putting quotes on things feels vintage to me. What's the name of that? Do you know Amy and Jen Hood, Hoodspa Design? Okay, they made fonts and it's called Palm Canyon. They have a font that is like scripty, and now I can't think of what it's called.
Let's see.
All right, let's search and see if it comes up as a script. Not brush script. Okay, this one, sure, we'll use Fenway Park. This looks okay. Yeah, that feels okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
What's happening here?
I don't know what's happening there though.
Let's see if there's contextual alternatives here. All right. Fine, I'll do it myself. All right. This is gonna look so bad. Okay, I hate these letters. Whatever. I can't do it. Andrew would have finished on time if he wasn't being so particular. That's cute.
That's a good one.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. That looks good to me. And we are going to make this, copy, and then to paste it into our artboard here. Oh, that's
turning
fun.
out lovely. Look at this.
That's fun. All right, we're going to paste in again our layer style right there. Inner glow needs a little bit of work on this one. All right, that's fun. It's looking good. And then let's go ahead and add, we need a big title up here.
Adobe Live presents Adobe Live.
Right?
What could we put?
Let's do this. Adobe Studios Worldwide. That's gonna be where we go with this. And I like to like mix and match fonts. I know people are like, oh, you're only supposed to have a certain amount of fonts. I don't care. I think it's fun to mix stuff up and to just, especially when you're working with vintage, there was such a kind of push for having interesting as much as you could. And so doing stuff like this, I'm always like, yeah, throw everything on there.
I think it's all about intention, right? It's like, as long as you're not just, if it makes sense, it makes sense. Like something like this, you're right. It's like they've got a bunch of different types.
I need this to be thicker. And so what I like to do is just add a stroke to it, which feels like absolute heresy, but. All right, this feels good. Let's go ahead and add in a little, actually, let's just add this in here and then make this creativity for all bigger, because I think that that's really fun.
Yeah, it looks great.
All right, we did it. How are we doing on time? I have no.
Let's see. It is 10:24, so got about an hour left.
Oh, more than enough time. I'm used to hosting like 30-minute shows. And so anytime I'm trying to work on something, I'm like, we'll never finish.
That's true. That's right. But look how fast you are.
So from here, I do want to make sure the biggest thing for me is that nothing is interacting with this background right now, because I am going to try to make like different slides to fade into each other. I want to make sure the background's separate so that I can really make those transitions. So this is all here. And again, this is all getting merged down, and I don't need it. Like working in a destructive workflow here is totally fine with me, because it doesn't really matter. We're going to merge it down anyway. So I'm going to select all of these that I just put in, and we are just going to merge them all down. I think we're just going to merge them all down.
Guys, this is slightly terrifying.
It feels illegal, but yeah, sure. All right. So we merged all those down, and then I'm going to make that shadow real quick. So I'm just going to make my selection and use our action of the long shadow. Boom, we got it looks so good when you put that little shadow on there.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
And then from there, we are just going to do a copy of that layer and add that directional.
So do we got any like music lined up for this or anything for the intro?
Right? Yes. And Wade says, I want to do a transatlantic
Adobe
accent.
Studios Worldwide presents Adobe Live, creativity for all.
Yep. And it's just full Foley with like the little honking horns and telephones ringing and yeah, all that. So again, I don't like the composition of this. It was a little low. And so I can grab all those layers and just move them on the background. And because everything is like shadows and lighting, it makes it super easy for me to not have to worry about like anything being specific, because I can move it and it's still going to interact with that background. All right, so this is that background layer that I have. I do want to lighten it a little bit. And so I'm just going to blending options, color overlay, and then make it a little bit lighter. All right. And then, you know what? Let's add an inner glow on that with some texture on the edge. Ooh. I should be so much more zoomed in than this. All right. So we just got that nice little texture on the edge there. And that will help it kind of have some definition from the background without getting super lost.
It's crazy how good this is looking.
It's once you again, you have to think that like it get your stuff in and then make it look worse, and then it's vintage. So I'm gonna merge these down again because we don't really need it. And now I'm going to add in those little glow shadows, and that will help to balance everything out a lot. So I have my glow layer up here, and we're just gonna add on top of that, and then we'll merge it down again. So I'm going to add in, and this one, I want to maybe try to follow a little bit and see if that will give me some of these little like hits here and there to give it a little bit more. That probably went down too far. The great thing is I can just use my eraser tool, make it soft, and then it will unspeckle that for me. Want little hard hits there. One more here and maybe on the eye. All right, so let's see how that looks when I merge it down and turn it into an overlay. All right, and then let's blur it out. And 0.4 is usually my like go-to.
Okay.
All right, so that's got a nice glow to it. I should have done that on the whole thing, but I just did it on one layer. So I'll merge that down, and now it's a part of our glow layer.
Perfect.
These sweet little guys just hanging out down here.
Bloop.
No concept of what life is. They're just like, we're just here to support.
Bloop. Bloop.
Yes. I want somebody who has like coding experience to make a mod for Photoshop that everything that you have like has a sound effect.
Yeah, I'm sure it's already out there.
That's true. I'm sure somebody's made it.
Pew, pew, pew. Yep. The whole time you're working. I mean, you could just do it yourself.
That's true.
Put in the extra effort. You could be the one. You could be the one that records the sound effects. Adobe could sell this.
It's me. I'm the chosen one. All right, so these are going to be tall. And again, this is like the boring part of the stream, is just like, it's so much just clicking.
This is why people are here. They want to see the boring clicky stuff. They want to learn.
Adobe Live, tune in for the boring clicky stuff.
Yeah. Adobe Studios presents the boring clicky stuff.
Yeah, that's like the cut in, is like, is your working process boring and clicky?
You're in the right place. Has your job got you down? Well, come watch this, poor sap. Do boring clicky stuff and be glad that you're not him.
Exactly. It's a Monday after he hasn't worked for a week. All right. So everything looks good to me. And the reason that it looks different between these letters and these letters is because they're not blurred yet. So it's going to be super easy. Again, I can find where all that letter is, which is this layer right here. And we're just going to go to filter, blur, and I'm going to give it nice 0.8.
Perfect.
Hit OK. And now when we zoom in, you can see we've got all that good, gorgeous kind of softness glowing on these letters.
Yeah.
Right?
That's lovely.
All right. So I think we're good. Like, I'm good with this as the title screen. Let's really lock it in. And this is where we're going to start adding effects on top. So we had already done our lighting, which is how we wanted to set it up. So watch what happens when I do this. Right. So it really brings it together, because everything that's happening in lighting is just augmenting what's below it. And so there are a couple things here, like the vignette is coming a little bit too far over the edge there. So I can actually, I think I'm going to take that down a bit. And I may even redraw it so that it fits where my type is, because I want it hitting this edge, but it's too much up here. So I'm going to delete this and then just redraw my vignette real quick. And again, the way that I do that is super soft brush on black with a dissolve mode. I want it hitting a little bit on. Actually, I don't want it hitting that edge at all, right? Because that's where the light is coming in.
Right.
So let's really have it hit these. The poor little copyright is going to get obliterated. That's fine.
That's okay.
And then we want it super heavy up here. All right. So that looks good. And then we're going to do our little trick where we merge it down. Already looking a little hot there.
Does have a little bit of a Twilight Zone vibe. You're right, RB.
So yes, I grew up on Twilight Zone. I've seen every single episode. And yes, this is where I got a lot of my inspiration, was from watching old episodes of Twilight Zone. Like, I love
it's an amazing show.
Yep. And so even so with that little blur, like, look at how good that looks on that. It's just a nice little noir look. All right, so we're looking good here. It looks a little intense, but we'll actually fix that when we get into the animation. I think these curves are a little hot, but that's fine, because as we take these down, so like if this was at 50%, so that's our shadows. Shutdown. So we take this to 50%, you can see that we can really use this slider to like give it more hit and less hit, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Okay.
All right. That looks good to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to merge. This is crazy. I'm going to merge our entire composition right there.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So we're merging all of this down. It messed up the shadows because they're okay. Here's what I want to do. I'm just going to add a noise layer on top of this. Trying to think of how I want to do this. Let's make a merge of it. Those shadows are fine. Let's add a bunch of noise to this whole thing. And then let's change the blend mode here to like a soft light. That's giving us too much. All right, I'm going to kill it. All right, so that looks fine for now. I am going to do some augmentations on top. And that's going to be mostly just contrast stuff. And I am going to add one more full thing of noise.
Okay. Just that added. Just got to make it less visible.
Again, make it worse. Yeah.
Television. Yeah.
And so like the difference between here and there, you can see it really gives it just more of that noir vibe. And it's just hiding more of those mistakes for us.
Bobby, go hit the television. It's cutting out again.
Yes. I might take this to like a 0.3. So again, super subtle blur on that noise makes it not super sharp, but gives you all of that grainy texture.
Yep.
All right. So should we get to animating? I think that we're like in a good place.
Yeah. And everybody, if you're joining us right now, we are with Andrew Hochradel, brand designer, Adobe host. You guys have probably seen him on here, but very excited today. We're doing a vintage title intro and we are about to start animating. If you guys can tell, this is looking really good. Just, made something really nice and then just progressively made it worse to make it vintage, right, Andrew?
Yep.
So if you guys are joining us on YouTube, hello. And if you're on Behance, hello. Join us in chat, behance.net/Adobe Live. And let's get started with the animation.
Cool. So I'm going to break out this lighting into just separate layers because it'll be easier when we animate. And I moved this noise underneath the lighting because you always want your lighting to be on top, right? Your lighting is affecting every single thing that's under it. So you always want your lighting all the way at the top. So you can see if I move this up here, it's hitting these are getting blown out, but still having noise. I want that noise affected by that light so that it still has that nice little texture for us. That actually allows us to maybe pull these curves up a little bit more to get nice contrast and make it just super hot on there. Yeah, glow. All right, let's animate. So we're going to go to window, we're going to go to timeline, and then we are going to create a video animation, video timeline right here. So what this is going to do is it's actually going to bring in all of your layers. So you can see all of your layers here. That's why I put things in groups because it gets really crazy.
Oh yeah.
And what I want to do is have the background, have the light turn on, and then have the text kind of fade in, right? And we're going to eventually build one more slide to fade over this, but I want that that it's a background and then it's been exposed and just like chopped on top.
Okay.
So what I need to do is we need to find the layers that we want off. And right now, I think that is just going to be these final layers. Yes, that's why I love having everything built on one layer. So what we can do is we are going to hit this little arrow right here, and that's going to allow us to change the opacity on timing. So we're going to change the opacity here, and we want this opacity at 0. So no lighting on. Those shadows are probably fine. We want it dark initially. So I'm gonna have the opacity here on 0. And then I also want the opacity on my final layers right here to be 0. So it's great is you can use opacity on groups and that will allow us to move everything together. That's why we keep it all in one group and not in separate pieces.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna give it a second of nothingness.
Yeah, what's our timeline here? How many seconds is the project?
That's a good question. I can never understand what these numbers are in the timeline. And so I kind of go and export until I'm like, maybe it should be slower. And then I just like move things around.
Gotcha.
I'm thinking that these are seconds, right?
I think so.
20 frames, 30. Yeah. 32 frames.
It could be. If it's doing it by frames. Yeah. I guess it depends.
29.7. Yeah. So it's 1 second.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want it to maybe fade up over a second feels long enough. And we're going to turn on the opacity and then just change it to 100.
Okay.
So now as I scroll through here, you can see Photoshop renders in real time. It's bringing up that light.
It's very
right?
Cool.
Wild.
Yes.
So we're going to bring up that light. Looks good to me. And then from there, I am going to bring in our type, but I'm going to not bring in the glow layer. So I'm actually going to move the glow layer up above this. And that's going to pull it out into its own layer. It will turn it on, but I want that off because we don't have the opacity turned off. So I'm going to turn the opacity off on that glow layer just to 0 because we want that later. And then from there, we're going to figure out when that light comes on almost at the end. So right about there, I want the type to start fading in. So we're going to turn the opacity here, make a key point. So it's 0 to 0, and then slowly fade that up to 100. So now as we scroll through this, and if I hit play, we'll see what happens. It has a tough time rendering like quickly, but oh, actually it's totally fine.
That's pretty good.
There we go. Yeah, it looks like it's going a little bit too hot for me. So I'm going to really bring this out and give it some time. And see what that looks like. Yeah, that's what I want it to be. So that really slow fade, and then it fades up right there. And I do want this to start a little bit later and go a little bit longer. All right, so it's going to turn on that light, fade in our type. And then from there, we want it to start glowing. So I can go back to my glow layer right here. And once that locks in, I'm going to turn that opacity to 0. So we're, ooh, Andrew, wrong. There we go. I'm going to turn this opacity to 0. And we can just click here to make another anchor point. And then I am going to very small right here, just start adding in anchor points. And we're going to do 20%. We're going to do 10%. And this is going to give us a flickering effect.
And can you just explain the anchor points really quick? So,
yep. So the anchor points are basically telling Photoshop, go from this to this. So on the opacity value, go from 35%. And when it hits this next point right here, I want it to be at 60%. That was 650. I want it to be at 60%.
And so are you adding all these anchor points is for the kind of the flashing effect, right? Because otherwise you would just go from 0 to 100 at a further anchor point down the line, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So this is probably going to be way too quick, but we'll see what happens here. I'm going to take this to 50, and I'm just thinking of how I want this to look. So I'll go to 100 here, and that's going to be really bright. And then we'll have it flicker a little bit between maybe 90 and 100. And I never like it to go to the same number. I like it to kind of be randomized. And so that way I type in at this flicker kind of 87, 93, and I just know that it's basically going bright to dark. So let's go back down to 60 here, and then we'll maybe go back up to 70, and then we'll have it fade out over time so that it goes back to that 0 eventually. So it'll give us that flicker, and then it'll fade back out.
Yes, Krishna is chiming in. It should be keyframes, not anchor points, which is
true.
Yeah,
sorry, they
animation,
are keyframes.
Keyframes are what you use in animation to build all the in-betweens.
Yep. So you can see there, it's that has that nice little glow on those wiggles. So I kind of scroll through there. We're getting a little bit of that flicker. And I do want to add this kind of on this light as well, but I don't want it to be full on. I want it to kind of hit as like a pulse. So all of that's going to come in. And as that light fades in, I want it to hit 100%, stick there for a second, but then go to maybe like a 80% and kind of just flicker softly, but with more time. So we're spreading those out, and you always want to end where you started. So we want to go here to 80, then we'll go to 60. And then we're going to, oh, Andrew. Okay. I dragged somewhere I shouldn't have. All right. So we're at, let's see, 60 on this anchor point. Then let's go back to 80 and then all the way back down to 0 so that it ends at the same place. I also might want our type to fade back out. Right now, let's not worry about that because we may want to add in another slide.
Right.
So I'm just going to scrub through and make sure that we made things looking good. All right, that's looking good to me. Sure. All right, so what I'm going to do now is we are going to render the video and see what happens. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Export. No, Export. Yeah, Render Video. There it is, right there. So we're going to render this video. It'll probably take a second. Photoshop's going to initialize. It's going to think about it.
Do you animate often in Photoshop, or is this something you just kind of wanted to do today? Or
when I'm doing lighting stuff like this, and when I'm doing this style, I always animate in Photoshop. It's so much easier to work with the lighting because I understand how lighting works in Photoshop. And so when I'm kind of just painting with lighting, it's so much easier for me to work in Photoshop than to try to do this in After Effects. So I'm sure it would probably be easier in After Effects. I just don't know it well enough. Right. And so if I'm toning video, any of that stuff, I do it usually here.
Yeah, and you don't have to go to another program. It's all in one.
Yep. Which Lightroom now has video supports, which is pretty cool. Just got added a couple weeks ago. And you can like color correct. You can do some like trimming, orientation changes. You can, yeah, it's magic now. All right, it's really thinking about this. So the exports are like pretty intense because there's so much noise in there. It's all just like those little details. What I could do is I could shrink this down and make it a GIF, and the GIF is like super intense, but there is a lot going on here. So it's taking a second here. I'll bring this over so you guys can track with me. There we go. It's almost done. It's
almost there. It's just that 99 to 100% that it's going to take another just 5 minutes.
Little 1%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it usually exports video much faster. But we'll see. Let's go ahead and build a second kind of page. And maybe that page that can fade in can be a title card for this episode. Let's do that.
All right, perfect.
So while that exports in the background, I'm going to make a title card for our episode. And silly me did not save whatever font that was. But we're just going to say vintage title cards. And again, it has to be in quotes.
Yes, very important.
Ooh, and maybe I don't do the big letters. Let's do this font for like the episode title. Vintage title cards. Track this out a little bit. Oh, not that much. And then let's do a little with Andrew Hochradel. Oh, caps lock.
Whoops.
Andrew. Thankfully, my font is only in caps.
Look at that.
Let's do hosted by Chris Blackstock.
That's me.
It's you.
Look at me.
You know what? Let's put another just like random wild font in here. Let's go in. I want something that's a little bit wider. Oh, hello.
Your computer's like,
I was gonna say,
what are
like
you
murder
doing
creative cloud? Yeah, like what did I do here?
I'm still trying to render.
Well, yeah, we'll grab something here. I'm not mad about this. It's really weird to do this, but like, sure.
Yeah.
Who cares? Crazy. All right, we're going to space this out. And then we're going to do like an episode up here. So we'll do like episode 243. Feels like a good number.
Yes.
Good old 243.
Episode 243.
When I was 243.
You don't live as long as you used to.
All right, we're going to shrink this way down and we'll do this. Do a little date there.
Deep into the future. 2022, episode 243.
Right. So this is going to save us some time. I'm just going to make it that light gray when I bring it into Photoshop. Oh, Andrew, you know what's going to happen right now? I'm just going to say it because I know that it's about to happen. We're about to crash and I have it saved and we're going to have to like completely start over. I feel it, but like I'm totally okay with it. But it feels like that's what's about to happen.
So we're going to start a new project, guys. That was it. You kind of almost saw it, right? Oh, wait.
Okay. I canceled the video export.
Okay.
And we're going to do this real quick. We are going to actually save this. Smart. Woo. We did it. We saved. All right. What I'm going to try to do, and this might actually be worse, is I'm going to try to save for web and make this a GIF. That's going to be worse. Let's render the video. We'll try it one more time.
We can do it.
Yeah. All right, so it's going to initialize that export. We are going to grab this, and I think that this looks pretty okay. And we need Photoshop, so we need to copy and paste this into Photoshop. So we do need it to do this video export pretty quickly.
We just yell at it and bang our desks. Usually helps.
3,
work
2,
faster.
1.
Come on. Green means go.
It feels like it's almost there. All right, let's cancel this real quick. And I'm just going to add in the second layer.
Might as well.
And what I want to do is these are final layers. I'm going to make a new layer here and put it in a group.
Okay.
And this is going to be card 2. And I think that this is where it ends up like really shining. This kind of vintage effect. Boom, done.
Oh, look at that.
Let's go ahead and put it. There's so much animation happening. Let's work at the beginning when there's nothing on. That's fine. So we're going to do everything in this card 2. And let's go ahead and put in our layer style is probably still there. Let's take that inner glow down. There we go. Let's check that out. It applied to everything. Great. Then we are going to make our selection and then make our long shadow here.
Go back to our action.
Oh, we have white on the background. We go ahead and delete that. Switch. So you have to have your background color because that's just the way I recorded it.
Right.
Boop, boop. Long shadowed. Got it. Let's paint on some little noise here using our soft brush with that dissolve. Okay, let's not do that. Give it just a little bit of oomph. That hit way too hard. All right, we'll change the opacity of that to just give us less oomph. Got too oomphed. And then we are going to 20% that. Just do a little bit more to give it just a little bit. There we go. All right. Then what do we need to do next? We need to blur it and we need to add our glow, which the glow is going to need to be a separate layer. And so let's go ahead and just merge this down and blur it, I think is where we're at. Let's add some noise.
See, if we didn't have the action set up, this would be a very long stream.
All right, I probably put too much noise on these, but I'm not mad about it because the glow is really going to make it like pull out. So let's go ahead and add one more glow. And this is going to be just over these. Oh, and let's definitely have special little glow for those quotes.
Yes.
And quotes are just my favorite thing.
Are you an air quote kind of person?
I am an air quote. I do that all the time.
We get it, Andrew.
In theory.
No. You get it?
Yeah.
Do you get it? Yeah.
And I'm just holding shift here to drag across these. So shift basically makes a straight line from wherever you clicked the first time to wherever you clicking the second time. Go to blur. Nice. And then we'll set that to overlay. So good. All right. I made it a little bit too crispy for me with that overlay. Overlay usually makes the edges a little bit crispier. So I'm going to blur this just a little bit more. There we go. I want those letters to really kind of fall out. There we go.
Works so well.
So easy, right?
Yeah.
So now what we can do is, this is our card 2. Look at that. It's all together, all our shadows and everything. We have our glow 2. Oh, calm down. There we go. And from here, we can just extend our timeline. And what kind of sucks is we're going to have to like just drag these here. So let's do 8 seconds. And what's great is we can actually just slow this down. So if it's like, oh no, it's way too fast, we need to retime everything, we just slow it down. All right, so we drag all these so that they continue to exist. We have a lot of layers that need to continue to exist. What fun. This is the boring clicking stuff that you came here for.
Is there a way to just select all of those and extend them out? Probably, right?
Like probably. But why would it make it easy when we could make it harder?
This is all part of the process. Got to do the hard stuff first. Oh yeah.
Did I turn on a layer that was not on? I think I did. I turn on our
Well, are you talking about, because the vintage title cards I think are on because you were fixing them in the beginning.
There we go. All right, those glow. Got it. So we want the vintage title card, the first one, to fade out. So let's look at when it's fading in. Final layers, looks like it fades all the way in right here. So let's give it a second. And then let's hit the keyframe on the opacity right here. And then let's pull it to 0. And we want it to have some overlap. So I'm going to pull it to 0 there. And then from here in the middle, I want there to be some overlap as these kind of change sides. I think that it gives it like that weird vintage look. Oh, look at that. We hit exactly. Composition.
Your brain knew.
It knew. It really did. So we're going to open up our, what do we name this? Card 2, which is up here, right there. And we're just going to turn the opacity of this to 0 because we don't want that doing anything until it comes in right here. So we want it to come in at 100. Oh, you're gonna make me just like actually move the layer. Good thing it's one layer. Oops, 100. That's 1000. Oh, and I'm definitely editing the wrong thing.
Yeah, of course you are.
All right, there we go. So now we have this nice little overlap that should happen right there.
Yes.
So this is
crucial.
Like the thing to me that's like, yes, that's the vintage look right there. Magic. All right, so it fades in, and then we want our glow to hit, our glow 2. So we have glow 2 right here. And this is, again, going to get that nice little random kind of movement. So we'll set that to 0. And then we want that very quickly. Actually, we want that probably to come up with this. So I'm gonna have the glow kind of grow as that comes in and then start flickering. And probably never go back to 100. It feels like the 100 was really hot. But this will flicker just a little bit and it will almost just flicker out.
Just to let you know, Andrew, it's about 11 o'clock. So we got about 20 minutes before we start doing the wrap up.
Sure we do. Okay. 30. I need to get back to 0. So let's move these here. And then let's go to maybe 40 and then straight back to 0. So at the end, I want this to be at 0. I want our title card to hit 0. So I'm just going to make that a quick little opacity change here so that it is at 100. And then it fades to 0 with that lighting change. And then we end up where we started, I believe. Looks good to me. I do need the lighting to continue glowing.
I was going to say, yeah, the spotlight.
Did we have that go to 0? We did. These are the curves. So here it's at 80, and then it goes to 0. We need this one to be like 60. And then we need this one to be like 90. Then we need this one to be 50. And over here, let's go up again, 65, and then down to 0 right there. All right, here we go. Let's scroll through. Something got weird. That should not be there, right?
Okay, maybe you have to shift. Let's see the timeline there.
It's card 2. Oh, we never had this at a 0 opacity. So I'm going to set the opacity to 0 at the beginning.
There we go.
Let's see if that fixed it. Where's it going right here? That's the question, is what is this point? That needs to be 0. All right, there we go.
Where does that cut in?
It should come. Oh, it should be. It should be coming in like, there's that. Then it should be coming in, but be like, okay, this is 0. This is.
I was gonna say that's maybe pull that.
Let's delete. All right, this one is 0.
Okay.
Okay, let's delete all this. So here we want it to still be, this comes in, and then when does it start to fade out? Right there. Oh, that is right. So I think we want it to be 0 until here.
Yeah.
A new anchor point, 0. Sorry, keyframe. I'm so confused as to what's happening.
Why it keeps.
This doesn't need before. This one needs to be 0. That's what's happening. Let's go back to that keyframe. So it locks in there. This keyframe needs to be 0.
0. There we go. Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to move this a little bit further over. Also, it looks like it's slow right now. This is probably so fast. This is probably unbelievably fast. And then we lost it at the end. It needs to be back at 0. Okay, it did. Okay, cool. All right, I think that we did it. Let's go ahead and save. 1.
Definitely save.
2, let's try to render this. Good luck, everybody. All right, so we're gonna render the video. What do we want to do while this renders? Do we want to try some 3D stuff in Illustrator?
Yeah, because I know we were talking about that earlier. And was this a recent update, correct? With the 3D tools?
Yes, very recent. So let's do like, I want to do like a dimensional, as if it's like in the side of a wall. I don't know how to like better describe that. But let's do as if this was just, let's do the whole thing on like a sideways title card, as if it was, maybe as if it was those mitten letters that we were talking about. Right. So what we could do is, let's go ahead and make this black for now. And actually, let me pull our progress onto a different screen, and that way I can see how we're doing in our export. All right, so let's go ahead and Go to window. We are going to change this to that light gray. And we're going to open up our 3D materials. We're going to extrude it. That's already looking super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to try something just because I think that this would be interesting, is get that like super long extrusion, like noir, like it's kind of flying toward you look.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to do it like at contrasting angles. So if we do this one that way, and then we do these like the opposite way.
Yeah, yeah.
Front. That's going to flip it around. I don't want that. That's not right either. Front. The rotation on the, this is X, this is Y. No, this is Y, this is X.
Yeah, Y is vertical, X is horizontal.
6, 18. I'm just making these positive and seeing if that does it. That indeed maybe did not do it. Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. The lighting just needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting right now is standard. We need it rotated to the other side.
There we go.
Okay, I'm not mad about this. That's kind of cool.
That is cool.
All right, so we're gonna do that. We are gonna add like way more depth to these. Oh yeah, this is gonna be wild. And maybe we do that thing where they're kind of just like around. This one I definitely want to be, whoa. Okay. Oh, maybe we do want them like that. Okay. I'm not mad. I'm gonna undo some stuff. Come on, Photoshop. I need you to render. Let's make it happen. All right. I'm just gonna change the depths of all of these. It's really thinking about this render. If it doesn't finish, I'm going to be devastated.
Yeah. Whoops.
All right, 25.
Got like 15 minutes. I think it'll do it.
It has to render in 15 minutes.
It's gonna do it.
It's like 3 seconds of video. All right, that's looking pretty cool.
Computer. There we go.
All right. It probably doesn't help that I'm working in 3D at the same time. All right. Let's do this at 10 because it's really small. All right. That looks pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how much we can push Photoshop or push Illustrator to do this kind of effect. All right. So we have that there. And now I'm just going to create a wall behind it by creating a full size kind of background. And then I'm going to use plane, and that doesn't extrude it. It just gives you that angle.
Okay.
So now I have that angle. I can send it to the back, and there we go. We've got that nice kind of angle following. And what do I want to do with this? Do we want to make it so that it is like extruded as a kind of, let's do that. Let's extrude it so it feels like it's like a piece of a wall, like coming off of the wall.
It's like coming off the wall. It's cool.
Let's do it darker. There we go. Let's move it so that it fits right there.
Yes.
Make it a little bit larger. I'm going to grab this whole thing and just scale it down. And that way we can have that kind of differentiation. Cool. And then maybe we just like drop out the background into a total black, and that gives us some nice.
That's very cool.
Contrast. So now let's go ahead and look at this in presentation mode. That looks pretty cool. think maybe the gray needs to go all the way to that edge.
Mm-hmm.
Like this background needs to be this
Should just
gray
be
color.
all gray.
Oh, I need to match that color. Okay, this is literally the worst way to do this. But what I love to do is if there's a color that I need to match, there we go. I just take a screenshot. So I literally screenshot and paste it back in. If there's some effect on it or something where I can't just like sample. Yeah, I don't mind that. And let's just drop. Again, we're just hiding edges here. Sometimes when it looks worse, it's better. Photoshop, we have 15 minutes. I need you to do this.
Woo.
Okay, maybe
it's 11:10. We got, let's see, got to wrap up in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We got to get this.
I know. Let me maybe restart Photoshop and see if it helps.
Sure. But
all right, we canceled our export. We are saved here on the title. I don't know what these are, but this one probably doesn't matter. I'm guessing that this is a different thumbnail. What is this? Oh, that's something that I'm working on. All right, I'm gonna save this real quick as a cloud document, Untitled 2, and then we're gonna restart Photoshop. Good luck, everyone.
come on, here we go. Here we go.
All right. And if we can't render, I may try a GIF, or I may try to make it really small. Just resize the entire thing.
Yeah.
And that way we can at least see what the render looks like.
Yes. What what kind of computer are you working on?
Oh, I have like a pretty beefy computer. So I'm not sure what's happening.
It just knows. It knows that you need this.
It does. It's like, hey, you spent a ton of time working on this and it's really cool and it'd be great to show everyone. But what if we didn't?
Yeah.
What if that didn't? Title, this is where we were. All right, so let's try this one more time. We are going to export, we're gonna render video and just see if it throws through there. Oh, literally worked so fast. That's hilarious. That's all it was. All right, we're gonna put this on my desktop and we're gonna name this title. Looks good. All these are great. All frames, we're gonna hit render. It's gonna take 3 seconds and then we wasted all that time. All right, Here's how fast it's exporting this crazy video. Done.
Steve Fest is like, extra RAM, get your extra RAM on a stick right here.
Right? Yeah. So here's our title. Actually, here, let me show you this. This is something that I did for a client using this effect. And this was like they were making, can I show this? Sure. They were working on a thing. I don't care anymore. All right, let me go ahead and move this over here. So this is a GIF. And again, not the greatest. Let me go ahead and blow this up. You can see all that glow and then the transitions between those. And so I love working with different lighting on these transitions. So you can see it's coming from like one way to another way to the center. And then this animation, classic Disney, right? With the character all coming in. So this is kind of the final when you work with a lot of those pieces, but ours looks like it's going to be so fast. All right, so we've got all those kind of glows going in. It looks like there was a little bit of wonkiness happening. And I could take this and I might actually do it real quick, take it into Premiere and speed it up. It looks like we're dropping here on our second cue card, which we don't want to do. Is the opacity of this card changing? Oh, it is. We want to delete all of these because we just want this card to be on that whole time. So this one needs to be set at 100. Yep. And then this one needs to be set at 100 as well. There we go. That's what the problem was.
It was the card itself.
Yep. All right. That's great. So we're going to go and I'm just going to render this real quick. And why not? Let's go ahead and take this in to Premiere.
Yeah, we've got tons of time. Tons of time.
We live in Kansas. We got 10 minutes.
Yeah. Tarcisio Damonte is coming in from Sicily, just saying hello.
Oh, hello.
Catching us right at the end. Very exciting. This has been a pretty fun, crazy Monday stream.
Yep. And while we wait for Premiere Pro to load up, I'm going to do this because I don't have time, but I want to. I'm just going to come in here, and this is my little hack for creating noise over things. Is I'm going to fill this, right? I'm going to go to filter. I'm going to go to noise. I'm going to add noise, and we're going to set this to like 50%. So really high noise. We're going to hit OK. And from there, I'm just going to make 3 of these. So I'm going to go in here, and instead of a video animation, I'm going to do a frame animation, and I'm going to create frame animation. Then we're just going to make 3 layers, each with that exact same thing. So we're going to add noise. We're going to do 1 more. Let's do 4. Add noise, and 1 more. Add noise. 1 more for good measure. So now all I need to do is I'm going to turn these off, and I'm going to make new layers right here, set it to 0 seconds, and then just turn one of these on each time. It randomizes that noise. So if you want that static effect, this is a super easy way to get that static effect. And then I'll just make a bunch of copies of those and then render this as a video, and you'll see what it looks like. So export, render video, noise, render. It'll take a second. While we do that, Premiere Pro is ready to go. Okay, give me new project, sure. Let's see here, hold on. Okay, come on. Sure, let's put it literally anywhere. This works. I don't know what this project is. All right, so that is all rendered. We have our noise. It is really thinking about opening this project. 3 minutes? Perfect. Bye, that was for a holiday thing. So now what I can do is I can grab our noise and I can grab our title final. I'm going to drag it in here. And now we can scrub through and we see that it all comes in there. It looks great. We're just going to change the speed of this. Going over here to speed and duration, we're going to set it to like 60%.
Yep.
And then this noise is going to go on top, and we're going to change the blending mode over here to just soft light. So now you can see this noise. See how it like wiggles there?
Mm-hmm.
And so we can take this, actually want to take the opacity down on it a little bit, down to maybe 50%. And then we are just going to repeat this over our whole clip.
Look at that.
So it looks like we're at like 10 seconds, which is good. So now I'm just going to go ahead and let's render this out. Control E, exports? No. File, export, there we go. Media, look at this. We have 2 minutes left, and we are going to hit this exactly where we need to. So let's hit play here.
Andrew, it's like you've done this before.
Right? All right, so it looks good. The only thing that is bothering me is there is, how do I go back from here? Let's just export it, who cares? All right, so the only thing that's bothering me is the speed of the noise is wrong. So I'm gonna nest these real quick. So it becomes 1 clip, and then I'm just gonna change the speed and duration of this whole thing.
Perfect.
All right, let's go ahead and export media. This is gonna be final. Type Adobe Live. Looks good. Let's go ahead and export it. We are exporting. And all right, final type Adobe Live. Are we ready for the final?
Here we go.
30 seconds.
We go. Adobe Studios Worldwide presents Adobe Live, creativity for all. Episode 243, vintage title cards with Andrew Hochradel, hosted by Chris Blackstock.
Yes. I can't believe that we made it, but we made it, and it worked out so well. Heck yeah.
You did it. You pulled it off. You pulled it off, sir.
We pulled it off. So we could have done all that animating in Photoshop here in our title. The timing just got weird and I made it not right. But yeah, I think that we did it.
That looks great. I'm actually kind of blown away how fast you did that. That was awesome.
For an hour and a half, we did pretty good. So what I would do to change this, here's what I would do to change this, just because we do have like a minute or two. I would go into this whole thing and I would blur it just a little bit. It looks too sharp for me. And so I'm going to come in here and just go to Gaussian blur and drag it onto this nest and then change the blurriness to like 1 pixel.
And then we just need to set this all into a photograph of an old television.
Exactly. Okay, I put it at 5 pixels. That's actually going to look really, really good. One more export. Do we have any announcements or things to make at the end of this stream as we wind down?
Yeah, well, tomorrow we got fundamentals of painting stream with Voodoo Val. Because she was supposed to be here today, but Andrew took over. So we're going to be hosting tomorrow with Voodoo Val at the same time at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard. And then after this, you're going to stick around for the special pick of a past Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge, followed by a 3D design stream with Kyle Jamison, where he will take you through his process of building your scene, arranging your geometry, applying textures, and setting up your camera across 3D apps.
Yes, and I believe that the Illustrator challenge right after this is branding essentials. So if you want to learn about branding,
awesome,
which we were going to do on this stream, and then we ended up not doing it. That was my idea at about 7:15, and then about 7:30, we changed over to this one. So here we are. All right, I blurred it a little bit, and this is why, again, it doesn't matter. None of the details matter when you're doing vintage because everything's going to get noise and blur. And so watch what happens. Actually, let's recap. So let's recap from the last one that we had. Can we open both of these? Is that an option? Yes. So this is the original one. So see how crispy some of that noise is, and the type just feels like it feels like it's trying to be vintage, but it's too crispy. Yeah. And so what I can do is we are going to delete or close that one and then go into this final blurred. And there we go. See how we're getting that artifacting? We're getting all that, like, this is what I wanted.
Yes. Wow. It changes it so much.
Right? Oh yeah. The cross dissolve with the blur. Yep. Oh, that's everything. Mwah, delicious. And you could do the noise in, you could do the noise as like an effect here, but I feel like it bogs down more if you do that. So I like to do it in Photoshop. I learned that from an artist. His name is Mike Mitchell, and he puts that over his illustrations on his website portfolio. And I just thought it was the most genius thing because it brought the photo illustration like to life. Instead of just being a static image, it had that like noise kind of just subtly over it. And it made it a whole new image. Well, Andrew, I think we did it. I think we did it. Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us this morning at kind of last minute. We've got Andrew Hochradel, brand designer, Adobe Live host, all around awesome guy. Thank you everybody for showing up today. We did a really awesome animation on like a vintage title intro video. So again, tomorrow's fundamentals of painting stream with Voodoo Val, and stick around for our special pick of a past Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge, followed by a 3D design stream with Kyle Jamison. We'll take you through the process of building your scene, arranging your geometry, applying textures, and setting up your camera across the 3D apps. But Andrew, thank you so much. It was so fun to finally hang out. Yeah, it was fun. If you guys want to follow, you can follow me. There's a link, I think, down in the description. Oh, I'm Chris now. Yes, I'm Chris Blackstock. Thanks so much. It was an honor hosting you today, Andrew. And oh, dang it. All right.
Chris, you were wonderful. I mean, just host and
Yes.
everything.
It was a great time. So check out the links in the description, and we'll see you again for another time. Bye.
All right, bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.